In a forgotten village nestled between two ancient cliffs, there lived a boy named Liro who had never spoken a word since birth, yet listened more deeply than any other soul alive. The villagers believed he was cursed, born beneath the blood moon, but his mother insisted he was special. His silence was not weakness, but a waiting power growing inside him. Every day, Liro climbed the jagged path to the Whispering Mountain, a forbidden peak said to sing secrets to those willing to hear truths too sharp for ordinary hearts. While others chased gold or glory, Liro sought nothing but understanding, listening to winds that bent trees and rocks that hummed when no one else dared to hear. One twilight, a silver hawk circled above him and dropped a tiny scroll at his feet, etched with symbols that glowed softly, then vanished as he touched them. That night, he dreamed of ancient warriors in chains, crying not for freedom, but for purpose. When he awoke, his hands trembled, knowing destiny had spoken. On the seventh moon, a great storm struck the village. The river rose, swallowing farms and shattering bridges. Fear danced in every eye, except Liro's. He climbed again, this time barefoot and without food, his heart pounding like drums of war as the wind called his name in a language older than stars. At the peak, the mountain cracked open, revealing a stairway of fire and frost. Liro stepped in, unafraid, trusting the whispers that had never lied to him. Inside, he met a figure made of smoke and memory, who said, "You are not here to speak to the world, but to teach it how to listen." The figure showed him a mirror of dreams, where his village was thriving, peaceful, united not because of wealth, but because they finally heard each other. To awaken them, the figure said, "You must give them your silence, for your quiet holds their answers. Your stillness is their storm's end." Liro returned, his eyes brighter than fire, and stood in the village square where fear still clung to the air like thick mist. Without a word, he began building something strange. Wooden frames, cloth sails, and stone runes all watched him, marking or confused. But none dared stop him. Day by day, his creation grew, a giant wheel powered not by fire or water, but wind harnessed from the mountain's voice, silent yet strong. When finished, the wheel spun with songs, soft hums that calmed crying babies and made old men weep. It whispered forgotten hopes into everyone's ears. The villagers slowly gathered, no longer marking, now listening. And as they listened, they began to understand one another's pain, their lost dreams, their shared hunger for meaning. Liro still never spoke, but he had become their loudest voice. His silence led them, not like a king, but like a melody guiding dancers. The windmill's song changed with the seasons, courage in winter, peace in spring, forgiveness in summer, and gratitude in the fall. From nearby towns, people came to listen. Some stayed, some wept. All were moved by something they couldn't explain but deeply felt. A wandering scholar once asked Liro's mother, "What kind of boy becomes a beacon with no words?" And she answered, "The kind who listens to mountains." Years passed, and Liro's hair turned silver, but his eyes stayed young, because he had never chased time, only truth. One night, the mountain whispered louder than ever before, and Liro knew it was calling him home, but not to leave behind the people. He left a final gift, a smaller wheel for each child, tuned to their hearts, so they too could hear their inner songs. As dawn broke, Liro climbed once more and was never seen again. Some say he became wind itself, others say he sleeps inside the stone. But when storms threatened, the windmill still spun with fierce joy, as if Liro was laughing with the clouds, reminding them they were never alone. A new child, born years later, under another red moon, stared at the sky and smiled silently. His mother whispered, "He listens," like the mountain sun. And so the village changed, not with force or riches, but with the quiet courage of one who heard what no one dared to hear. In time, songs replaced weapons, and meetings replaced arguments. They no longer feared the mountain. They thanked it for sending them a listener. The world around them moved louder and faster, but the village stood firm, small, still, and stronger than cities of noise. Travelers wrote of the village with no shouting, where hearts beat with wind rhythms and children grew up knowing silence was sacred. And when they asked who saved the village, elders pointed to the windmill and said, "He did, the boy with no voice who heard us all." The whispering mountain now bears his mark, a carving of a spiral, symbol of wind, time, and the wordless power of understanding. No one remembers war there, only the day the wind began to sing through stone and change even the hardest hearts. Poets say Liro wrote no books, but composed the longest message ever carried by wind, one that still travels from ear to ear. His story became a legend, not for magic or miracles, but for the rarest strength, listening when no one else will. To this day, travelers pause at the village and close their eyes, waiting for the moment the wind tells them who they truly are. And often, it does quietly, like a feather brushing the soul, soft enough to be missed by anyone too loud inside. The whispering mountain still calls, but only the brave, the kind, or the broken truly hear it and return changed. For in a world addicted to noise, the loudest transformation begins in silence, and the boy with no voice taught them that truth forever.